sé que ahora he jugado mucho aquí. Voy a la competitiva, chavales.
Uppercut call out of Gobby in this round.
¿Un torneo de quién?
No wall of smokes. They say we're going to have the advantage of weaponry. If you want to fight here, we have the AKs and we don't mind it. Hop. But again, alone. He's going to go down. There's no one there to help him whatsoever. No crossfire setup, even though a dread. Mr. Scott.
Víctor, no puedo dejar una partida competitiva a mitad, porque me pueden banear del Csgo para siempre.
Tomorrow as well.
So I just want to mention the map pick, Nuke. It's quite a surprising map for a best of one and elimination game. What was your thought process behind that?
So last night, like I said, we prepared 3 game plans. We had Cash, Nuke, and Train. We knew that they only play Train as like a hobby map, as in like they don't play it at all, they only play for fun, or like it's just there if they think the other team's really bad, and they didn't know we play it. So we thought if we leave it in, we're going to take it if we can. And then they picked it thinking, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. And we like anti-stratted the hell out of them. And then we just like outplayed them really badly. So, yeah.
Because you had a great CT side. How did you keep that momentum up coming onto the T side?
It was a decent CT half. We should have got 13 rounds, but like I said, I made a mistake. Again, they did exactly what we watched. Like, as soon as we saw one smoke, we said it's this round. And we all knew what to do, where to go. And they just played exactly how we expected. And yeah, we just hit our shots.
You had an incredible game yourself. I heard Gobby in the last round, I think it was, just saying, just go, push, find those kills if you can. What enables you to perform like that?
I don't know. I brought my little, wait, let me get this toy thing quickly.
Oh, there we go.
I brought Mini-Me.
Your lucky mascot.
Yeah, I brought this guy. If you look carefully, it looks like me, kind of, without the hair. Little terrorist as well, so yeah. I mean, I guess this guy helped me.
I heard you guys saying, I believe it was Tabson, it was the second last round, you're just talking about keeping the comms clear and calm.
Yeah.
Has that been a problem for you guys before?
Not really, but sometimes Gob like starts shouting a bit more than he should do, and so like we said, the game plan that we made, we had like 4 different strats for each set round, or how much money they had, and Gob was just screaming like, cancel, 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 and everyone was like, dude, we're already cancelling, man, it's fine, don't worry. And then so we were just saying like, try to stay calm, like we're in the lead so much, there's no need to be panicking, and then yeah, it's just people like getting too into it. But
So you've got one last chance tomorrow. You're 2-2 now. What are you going to do to make sure you secure that spot in the Legend stage?
we're going to find out who we're playing, and we're going to anti-shot the hell out of them. We're going to know exactly what they do, what they like to buy, where they like to play, and then we're going to win 2-0 tomorrow.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Smee, and congratulations again on that win. We're going to head back over to the analyst desk.
Okay, it's going 2s now, and we're going to see what they can do in a best of 3 tomorrow. It's big who managed to prevail over Gambit. Lots of interesting stuff from that interview with Freya and Smuya.
Yeah, you could see in that game there, especially in that first half, they only lost one opening duel, and that was the bonus round for Big, and that's where they had the SMGs, right? The rest of the CT half, they were getting all of the opening kills. The problem was they were losing when they had a number advantage. There was 3v5 scenarios that they should have been converting, and that's what Smuya was alluding to when he said it should have been 13-2. It probably should have been 13-2. They were giving away or offering themselves up in situations where it should have been closed out nice and easily.
Yeah, caught out in a best of 1 veto. I mean, how many times have you encountered something that so clearly was, I don't want to say lost in the veto, but close to it?
Yeah, I think definitely Gambit got baited into this pick. It just seemed like Big was so much more prepared than them. Even on the wall smokes, like Big did the 3 smoke outside, they did the 2 smoke outside. And even just on Gambit's 2 smoke outside, they missed it one round. He had to right-click a smoke on it. It just seemed like Big prepared this map for the major, and Gambit sort of just had this map in their pool already and sort of used things from the past. Even on their T side, you saw one of the rounds Gambit got. It was full eco, so it seemed very lackluster.
I do have, while the stats are up, to call you out a little bit, gentlemen, but only poking at good fun, that we said Nex had to perform, and turns out when God B is pulling his weight and in a dramatic fashion, top of the scoreboard alongside Smuya, Nex doesn't have to.
That's interesting in a way, right? In the sense of we also were highlighting Mo as being such an influential factor for Gambit, and an AWP player, when the economy can't get going, especially on the T side of Nuke, can't have a big impact. It is worrying signs for Big that Nex isn't having a big performance, but they got the victory nonetheless. Going into the best of 3 tomorrow, I think that's where we'll really see their strengths. Like, I think that's where they can actually flourish a little bit more, because there isn't as much pressure on the pistol rounds or those clutch situations. They get a longer series, and the preparation shows a bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, Nex just needs to get on those aimbots coming into that best of 3, definitely. We do have to see an improvement if Big wants to step into that Legend stage. Bringing up that head-to-head, though, you talked of God B. We actually brought up both of the leaders, or quote-unquote leaders. Gambit, of course, have stated that they don't feel like they have one, but Dosia taking the reins for now. And the stats from God B really do just, they paint the picture of how this game went.
Yeah, and it's not even just the stats, honestly. Godby's had an amazing performance so far in this major qualifier. The thing for Dosia is he's not performing well, and also he's being forced into a leader role that he doesn't want to do, and obviously it's showing in their T sides.
It is. Yeah, Gambit, we'll take a moment to talk about them. That was, of course, brought to you by The Predator, which is in cinemas September 14th. But, I mean, when you take a look at Gambit, this is their exit. This is where we wave goodbye to them in the challenger stage of the major. And they fell to Tyloo, Hellraisers, and Big. You know, we called them. They used to be the gatekeepers. It was, you know, it was their role. They were the team that stopped any of those upcoming Tier 2 teams from getting into the Tier 1. And it seems like they've just fallen to 3 of them.
Yeah, now they need to go battle through the minor system, right? So that CAS minor pool, the more teams that drop out, the more teams that go out in this initial stage, is going to add a bit more competition to that region, because sometimes it gets touted or looked at as it could be a little bit easier. We had Hellraisers come through there this time with Spirit. We got Vegas, Spirit, Gambit, all of those guys, even Na'Vi in the next stage. A lot of teams from the CAS here, so it's going to be a difficult road to get back to this point for Gambit. Yeah,
Gambit very close, though. I want to reiterate, though those results were unfavorable or didn't go in their favor, it was an overtime game versus Tyloo. It was full 30 rounds versus Hellraisers, and I don't know if you remember that one, but it was a pretty damn intense 30 rounds. Chad, you have a demo for us. What did you call this one?
This one's called Change, and it's just to do with Nuke, right? Obviously, there's been a lot of changes to this map, so if we bring it up, I can point out a couple of key factors in the way that I guess there is a meta shift, or at least a consideration. So this is 30 seconds left in the round. There's 5 players left on both teams. Just some contact towards ramp forces 2 players under. The issue is there's no quick way to rotate to top site now. You can see here the CT vent, the vents are gone. There's no quick avenue to get to the top site. They've pushed them away. They've quickly gone back towards the top site. And at this point, it becomes a 3-on-5 on the top site as they just steam on out and trade efficiently. As soon as they've locked these rotators out of the bomb site and the bomb's down, it doesn't matter that there was no utility on the Gambit guys. It's so difficult to get back into a round like this for a team like Big. So just with that rotation, you need to either drop further back so you can rotate towards the top site quicker, or make sure someone stays and fights. You did have 2 players there, and there was 30 seconds left in the round. They played it correctly if it was the old version, because you can get up top site's super quick. Just go through the vent, away you go. But because of this change, the rotation has to be considered a little bit more.
So I guess you kind of have to fight for ramp a bit more, Dabs?
Yeah, I think ramps become more of a focal point with that new change. If you lose ramp control, the Ts can go lower a lot faster, and they don't have to worry about that one point. So you can see teams go ramp, they take it, and then they smoke sync is what we call it, and then or they could smoke control. So usually you want to smoke one of the sides. Taking control is very good if you have no smokes to smoke it off. But it's a lot easier to hit that lower bomb site when you take ramp control, and I think that's one thing that's sort of improved in the map, in my opinion, because on the older versions of Nuke, ramp wasn't as important. You see teams, they jiggle, they get info, and then they run away, and then once you take ramp control as a T on the old Nuke, it wasn't as important. So I think it's a good change.
It's evolving. It has evolved, and I mean, Nuke has undergone so many changes at the moment. Still good to see it in the map pool and showing up in a best of one. Hell yes.
It's like one of those Kardashians, isn't it?
That doesn't show up every day. Well, they do show up every day. So how is it like a Kardashian?
Well, she's the one who's had all the plastic surgery, all the changes.
Oh, all the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those before and after
no, she's
photos.
a Jenner, isn't she? She's not the Kardashian. I know.
God damn it, Chad. Stay up to date, mate.
Pop culture references.
Yeah, your Instagram game is not on as on point as theirs, that's for sure. Vega Squadron, though, versus Complexity is coming up next, and it's going to be a team locking themselves in for the Legends stage. It's 2-1, one winner and one battling in a best of 3 tomorrow, and after that we have North versus Rogue, where we'll be sending one of those teams home, and one of those teams recently, of course, winning the last most recent major event. So North, a lot of pressure, a lot of hot under their collar as they prepare for that game that will be coming up to close out our day this evening. Still, let's do a real quick reminder about epics.gg. They're one of our sponsors here, and you can go ahead and collect, trade, and all of that good stuff. Your favorite CSGO stars. You can get it on your phone or over on the website. It's epics.gg, or you can get it on iOS and Google Play. All right, gents, we're going to take a break, and when we do come back, we'll be talking all about it as we look to see what Vega Squadron can do. They have surprised us time and time again, and will it be a surprise this time as they match up against Complexity? Find out after the break.
Let you go, let you walk away. If I can't tell you why I've been feeling this way lately. You say you don't know if I can hold you down. I'll let you find out. I guess we'll find out. Let's find out. Oh, if I don't get to say, I was hoping maybe you're feeling the same way as I do. You've been on my mind. There's no way, there's no way ignite this passion. Everything that you imagine can come true if you abandon all your fears. you walk away. If I come tell you why I've been feeling this way lately. You say you don't know if I can hold you down. I'll let you find out. I guess we'll find out. Let's find out. Oh, if I don't get to say, I was hoping maybe you're feeling the same way as I do. You've been on my mind. There's no way, there's no way skin. They're hunting down their prey. Let the games begin.
Vega Squadron and Complexity. The winner advances to the Face It Major 2018 New Legends stage. A best of one, just one map between Vega Squadron and Complexity to complete the set and continue the run. Both teams have had quite the run. Vega Squadron besting Vig and Spirit in some long maps of Counter-Strike. 1 OT, 1 full 30 rounds, and the same could be said for Complexity. Space Soldiers with a caveat, and Big Clan have fallen to Complexity, and just one more needed. Introductions though, Chad Sponge Birchall, and of course the lovely Jacob Pimp Vinegar joining us now, who's got his suitcase.
I got my suitcase.
Chad, I think we should give him a little clap. I mean,
I don't deserve a clap.
I'm proud of you. He found his suitcase. It was in the hotel the whole time. No, I'm joking.
It's
sorry, touchy subject.
Imagine one of us just stole it and put it like somewhere else.
Yeah, that'll be a good joke, chat.
It would have been mean. And you know what? Jacob's going to beat us up for a moment while we all take a look at Vega Squadron and what they said to our camera crew as we prepared and they prepared for the major to kick off.
I like to compete with other players. I don't like to lose, so I wanna win trophies. I wanna show my best, and I want my team be the best in the world.
They talking about me 'cause they never been relevant. Haters will copy.
It's like LAN tournament and everything can happen. Like you can win or lose to every team. It depends how ready are you and how prepared.
The major is the world championship for me.
It sounds cool, like major, like biggest tournament, but actually
I'm country fat that like my money blue and loud strong.
I don't know. I still don't feel like that much pressure.
No, I go for mine, don't waste no time, and I ain't never stop.
TS region is not weaker than other. We have also great players, but there is no chance to prove them.
For me, the biggest thing is to be like one of the best teams.
To show that you can be the best teams, that you are good, you are the champion of the world.
Girl, don't lose all of your favor. No.
Vega Squadron, yes indeed. I mean, they are admittedly to the point. As they say, they don't like to lose and they like to compete. I'm sure that stands for many here at the London Face It Major. But this is a squad that I'm still struggling to pinpoint where they are as a team. Because their win so far, they came against Big, and it was a spectacular performance from them, beating Big on Train. And the win versus Spirit was a spectacular comeback. It looked like they were all but out of it, and they managed to claw it back and close it out versus their regional rivals.
The CIS gets a pretty bad rap, right, in the sense of it's meant to be one of the easier regions to qualify through, but when they come, they actually deliver. You look at, you know, the likes of Spirit and Vega in this qualifier, they've both actually won games, whereas other teams who have looked a little bit more lackluster, say like Renegades from the Asian region, beat a Space Soldiers with a stand-in. So, you know, maybe it's a little bit of unfair criticism. It feels like a lot of talent or a lot of at least individualism comes through that scene, and you definitely get that display in the Vega Squadron roster.
Yeah, it's brought to you by DreamTeam.gg. JR, Hutchie, Chopper, Crush, Tony Black is your 5. Tony Black, of course, known here on as Kabak, and a bit of a name change coming into the major.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that has been showing a lot of progress as of lately. We haven't really seen them leading into the major, so they've stayed off the radar, and that probably meant that they've been preparing a lot. I think they were the guys also saying they had a 3-week boot camp before the player break, then had a week of boot camp after the player break, so they really have been top prepared coming into this tournament. So it's great to see that a team from the CIS region, who admittedly may not have the same skill towards some of the European guys, but can come in a little bit more prepared and then win the games in their own way, basically.
Some of the little bits and pieces when you hear from the post-game interviews, and especially the one with Taco when Vega lost to them on Cache, it was like about the way that they practice. If I'm remembering rightly, it's like that's the way they practice and that's the way they play. And it is a unique way because it seems very individual, right? We pointed out on the desk several times the way that they win rounds is someone pushes out and just goes for some opening picks or some opening kills and then snowball off that.
They really do. Complexity going up against them. I'm actually going to take a little moment to hear what they were saying coming into this major as North American underdogs. I say North American, the likes of Def representing the UK as well.
So you want me to do a basic introduction?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. You want me to say hi or anything?
It's mostly for editors.
You want me to like, what it would be feel like to do that or something like, almost like ask it back to you?
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh,
okay. So what is the major for you?
The major is pretty much like the end all of CS tournaments. My biggest goal in CS is to win a major, and I mean, it would mean everything.
Getting stickers alone was a pretty big achievement for myself. About a year ago, I honestly didn't think I would even accomplish that much in this game. Like, I know it's kind of sad, but like with all the roster changes and we finally have a stable 5, we can finally get a foot into the game, because I know we're not that respected right now, but during this major, I hope we can actually build some respect among every team here.
If we hit our shots, show up on the day, and play good Counter-Strike, we can definitely win. It's the biggest tournament. It's what every player should aspire to go to. And especially being one of 2 Brits to make it to the first UK major is just, it's pretty special.
A real battle for pride and prestige from Complexity, and also referring to their hard work. Android saying he's just proud to get his sticker in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. It's not just about the coin that you get that comes with it. That's actually, I guess, the lesser of the two. It's more so that you are now part of the game. Your name is in the game. You have actually made it to a point where people are putting that on their guns.
You can now, for the rest of your career playing this game that you've loved, dedicated your life to, have your nickname that you probably made up when you were 13 on your AK-47.
Yeah, immortalized in a way, right? This is the thing, the amount of hours dedicated. That's why the majors, that's another prestigious part of this, is we have that integration. We have that that's there forever. It becomes a legacy in that regard, and this is kind of your steps in the road to becoming a great Counter-Strike player.
It does feel like it's something that's been a long time coming for some of these names. I mean, we've seen Stanislaw still play around, trying to break through. He's had his highs and he's certainly had his lows. Now finds himself in Complexity with similar characters elsewhere. Bringing up the roster, of course, brought to you by Dream Team GG. I think Shazam falls into Shazam. It's because his name's Shazeb. His name is Shazam. I called him Shazim. Don't know where that came from, but Jacob, he's also kind of in that same category as he's many attempts.
It's a guy who's been around forever. I think the cool storyline between or around this Complexity lineup is the fact that Stanislaw and Shazam tried to build something with the 3 Danish guys from Optic. They had a short stay in Optic where they didn't do too much for the 3 months they're together. They ended up with some internal conflicts and had to move on to Complexity. Now in itself, that was predictable. I never really believed in Shazam and Stanislaw making it up and making peace with 3 rather, aggressive Danish guys in that sense. So it makes sense for them to come into a team and try to form the team around them, try to build up a legacy within Complexity, which not only is a great organization, but also an organization that stands for great Counter-Strike, not only the past few years, but for their entire time, right? So to see Stanislaw, to see Shazam have been around forever, haven't really made it through yet. Stanislaw obviously with Optic winning a few tournaments here and there, but falling back from Liquid, falling back to Complexity now, it feels like they finally find a home where they can build their own legacy and try to surround themselves with great players to build this project up.
And one of those great players is Ye. I mean, Daps was the tip of his tongue when we asked about, the hard hitters of Complexity, and actually this was one of the spectacular rounds for him. I believe it was a 1v4 with the CZ, just saving his team's ass. He's 19 years of age. You can see, of course, at the start of that video, just almost having a tutorial on how to give an interview and how to give the answers. This is a first major for him, and he's already managed to prove his worth in gold for Complexity.
Yeah, and that's we keep doing it, but it is a huge victory, right, against Big for them to be able to take that one. That's a legit win because Big, for the rest of us, have already been proven on the large stage, right? ESL1 Cologne, and for them to be able to topple them, even in a best-of-1 format, is still a big achievement because coming into this, you would never have considered Complexity to be 1 win away from making it to the next stage.
Yeah.
They, in my mind, were definitely a candidate to go 0-3, but they've surprised. They've obviously had that win against Space Soldiers, but they have had individual step up in that game against Big. Shazam, Ye, and Stanislaw all with over 20 kills, and that's a positive sign coming into this matchup. There is hope if you're a North American fan.
Yeah, and there is hope yet for both sides of the story. In fact, we'll bring up the head-to-head to show where some of that hope will come from, and that is, of course, Chopper. And we brought up Def. Def highlighted not only for the fact that he does, of course, represent the UK, as he already said here in the first UK major, but also the fact that he has had his peaks, especially during this major challenger stage. He had a huge game versus Space Soldiers, and I know there is the asterisk there, but actually, with a 16-11 result, you needed someone to hit hard.
Yeah, both these players, I suppose, are impact players, right? Chopper with some huge rounds of his own throughout their victories, and the same can be said for Def. These are guys who maybe they won't be at the top of the scoreboard for the entirety of the game, but when they do come out and get that really crucial 2K, or they're able to pull out a couple of entry kills here, there, or everywhere, it's felt. You know, it's definitely felt. It's not exit kills. It's none of these stat padding. It's a really big deal when these guys are winning those rounds almost single-handedly.
Well, we had Nuke just previously in their game with Big securing themselves their second win and immediately removed for Vega versus Complexity. Where's this one going, fellas?
That's a great question.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up on something like Inferno. Maybe again, I think it's a decent map for Complexity. Obviously, Vega Squad one could maybe stay away from it because they do know that Complexity are strong on a map like Inferno. But
it's all they've played. Do you know that?
It's all
the
they've played so
only
far.
map they've played.
So there's positive and negatives to that. Obviously, for Complexity, they're in the group, they're in the rhythm. You know, they know how to communicate on the map. They have a lot of ideas from the games. Whereas for Vega Squad one, there's a lot material to look at. So they can probably go in and anti-strat pretty hard on Complexity. So whatever they want to go for in Inferno, that's going to be the question here.
Inferno. I think that Vega should just go for K-Strat because that's the game where they took Liquid to overtime. So, okay, they're happy to go Inferno. They have so much more freedom to do individual plays on a map like Cage, where Inferno will require a lot more teamwork, a lot more structure. And a player like JR, who has had a huge amount of impact, especially with the AWP, might find himself muted. On the T side, it's so difficult to get in the groove. It's so difficult to find those picks unless they're offered up to you on a silver platter. So that's where you're going to be looking to the likes of Hachi on your screen right here, the Quebec into the world, the choppers.
Oh, you know, so I'm struggling to process the logic of it. When you've pushed a team like Liquid, you know, poised to be top three of the major.
Yep.
Here at the Challenger stage, you push them to overtime. You have a spectacular performance on Cash. It's given to you versus a team who've only played one map, and it's a choice between the only map that they've played and got to this stage, or a map that you nearly beat Liquid on.
I was trying to allude to it a little bit before. I think it comes down to the preparation. The fact that they probably knew they were going to pick Inferno, and no, you don't agree?
No, I don't at all, because the only way that these guys look dangerous with scrimmy plays, and that doesn't come with preparation.
No, but the fact that they can prepare for everything Complexity.
There's
nothing you can hide over 3 maps on Inferno.
But they're moving away from their strength. The strength that they've shown in the tournament is the freedom to do things that don't make sense and still win rounds.
What, like this veto?
If you're going to go to structured play against this team and you're going to now try and counter-strat, you better hope, you know, you're on point with your preparation.
I mean, by that logic, Tyloo wouldn't be a great Inferno team either.
And they find out. Yeah. Okay, so let's get those predictions going then, Chad. Has that rocked and swayed your?
No,
your
I'm still going to go with Vega, the Sharks,
believing in the
water,
Sharks.
Parkway Drive reference.
Yeah, or just a generic Shark metaphor reference.
Maybe, but I like Parkway Drive.
I like Parkway